Welcome to my favorite nonprofit radio segment called Nonprofits Care. Their causes are really extraordinary.
Hello, and thanks for listening to the Public Affairs segment of our programming. I'm Nicole Russell. With me today is founder and CEO of my favorite nonprofit, Ralph Grills, and Eric Lentz, the Senior Vice President and Executive Producer for Up With People. Welcome to the studio, guys. How are you both doing today?
Excellent. Just excellent.
Very good, Nicole. Thank you for having us.
Sounds like we've all had a pretty great morning. So Ralph, please tell us some more about yourself and how you came to establish my favorite nonprofit.
Sure. What happened is I owned an art gallery and a publishing company, and I started looking out there because I wondered, what nonprofit we could actually give some proceeds of our sales to. And so I went online and I started looking for different nonprofits. I found out there was over 1.8 million nonprofits in the U.S. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, how do even people know about these nonprofits? So I started thinking, wouldn't it be a good idea to have a place on the internet where people can go to and find a nonprofit they can actually look at and get involved with and get to know more about? So I came up with the idea, hey, what about my favorite nonprofit? So I actually got the domain myfavoritenonprofit.com, and I'm using the same concept similar to a social community like Facebook, but it was specifically for nonprofits. So what we're doing is that people can go on there and register online and do a profile just like they could on Facebook. But on our particular site, they're going to promote their favorite nonprofit instead of talking about their weekend or whatever. And also nonprofits can join as a group and form what we call a group community, and people can go on there and follow them and get to know about them so they can find out if they want to, volunteer, get involved, donate to them. And this is a way for nonprofits and people really to get together and corporations to be able to sponsor these different nonprofits. And so that's how I came up with this idea.
Well, that's pretty cool. So it sounds like you saw a need for something and now people can navigate that a little more easily.
Exactly.
All right. Well, so you two are here together because of an event coming up pretty soon that we will talk about in just a few minutes, that my favorite nonprofit gala, which is benefiting Up With People. So how did you two kind of come together to establish that?
Well, I was actually introduced to Up With People by an individual I met through the chamber, and I was looking for a nonprofit to do something offline for because I wanted to give back to the community as well with this site. So with Up With People, I found out they really met the criteria I was looking for. I was looking for a nonprofit, obviously it was going to be based in Colorado because our event is here. But also our site was developed not only for Colorado, but it's developed for people doing good throughout the country as well as throughout the world. So I thought it would be nice to have an international nonprofit that's doing some really good things throughout the world. And Up With People, as Eric will be able to tell you, does some awesome things out there.
Yeah.
And on that note, Eric, would you like to tell us a little more about Up With People?
You bet. Well, Ralph, first of all, thank you so much for everything that you're doing to promote Up With People's cause and the cause of nonprofits all over the country. And for us, Ralph mentioned 1.8 million nonprofits. We have an incredibly unique mission. Up With People has been around since 1965, and our purpose really is to bring the world together through service and music. So while there may be many nonprofits out there dedicated to youth development and community service and music education, we're the only one that combines all three. Our reach is global. We have over 20,000 alumni all over the world. And really what we've done since 1965 is spread that message. It's a non-religious, non-political message of peace throughout the world. And we do it with college-age students. I know, Nicole, you and I were chatting a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
It's kind of a tragedy we didn't find you when you were in high school at Eagle Crest or when you're going to Metro State, because our students are either taking a gap year, in other words, right after high school, before college, or they're taking that semester off during college to do a study abroad program. They can and do get college credit for our program. And what our program really does is develop their leadership potential, makes them cross-culturally aware, and they come out of the program truly global citizens and leaders for tomorrow.
Wow. And I know when we were talking earlier that you had been a part of it yourself in some of the performances. So Have you been the senior vice president and executive producer always? Did you start out as a performer, or did you start out as the producer?
I wish that I had been senior vice president for always. It's not. It's. I worked.
In his mind.
I don't know that I ever aspired to this role, but I feel very, very fortunate to be in this role. I go to work every day, and I love what I do. But I started out in the program as a student. I traveled. I took a year off during my junior year of college. Mm-hmm. I'm a guitar player and singer and songwriter, and so that part of the Up With People program really, really spoke to me. And the idea that I could be on tour like a rock star on tour, which appeals, I think, to every college-age boy.
Oh, yeah.
And that I could travel around the world with students from all over the world and give back, it just seemed way too cool to me at that point. I was like, there's no way a program exists that meets all of my needs, and it did. So I did that for a year, and then I came back on staff after I finished my college degree.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people don't think serving can be cool like that, but it sounds pretty awesome. I wish I had known about it. I would have been involved, that's for sure.
So any listeners out there from Eagle Crest High School,
yes,
we do exist, and you can find us at upwithpeople.org, and we still have slots open for this summer.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity.
As a matter of fact, speaking of high schools, my sister went to Random High School, and over 30-some years ago, she saw Up With People come perform at her high school.
Awesome.
And she was like, I'm so impressed. She was like, this is a great group. So you guys been around for 46 years, which really gives a good impact out there.
Definitely.
So is there anything else on the community service aspect that is done through Up With People? Is it just the touring and the message of the group?
That's a great question. So what we do in every city, Nicole, is we spend about a week in every city. And most of the week is dedicated to service outreach in the community. We ask the community what their needs are. And since we tour internationally, those needs vary wherever we go.
Right.
Mostly what we do, and kind of our wheelhouse, what we do best is work with the youth. Typically, the ages we work with are the ages where youth are really kind of discovering their voice and who they are. And we work with self-esteem programs with elementary school and middle school aged kids around the world. When we go to the Philippines, for example, when we're in Manila, we work with kids who actually live in trash heaps. And for our students, that's a completely eye-opening experience when you work with a developing nation and these kids who are just overjoyed to just meet somebody who's going to smile back at them. When we work in the U.S., typically it's with middle school and elementary school age kids. When we're in Europe or Mexico, the needs of each community vary so greatly that we just ask the community what they need for us to do, and we activate that with 120 young people from around the world.
That's great. So it is not just inspiration, but it's kind of the work and just realizing what the needs of the people are.
Exactly.
And that's why I was so impressed with Up With People, because I saw that throughout the world, they actually are partnering with other nonprofits who had a need. They would find out what the need was, and they would help them with that.
Exactly.
So they do collaboration with other nonprofits, which really fit our criteria as well.
Yeah, and thank you for mentioning that, Ralph, because one of the things that our CEO likes to mention is that Up With People can be a catalyst for community connections. So when we come into a city, there may be this great nonprofit, which is what Ralph's all about, is shining the spotlight on these great nonprofits, right? So there may be this great nonprofit in Fort Collins that nobody knows about, and Up With People will partner with that nonprofit to make sure to bring everybody together at an event, make sure people know about the great work that this nonprofit is doing, and then shine the spotlight on them, and then hopefully grow their base.
So you guys are giving more exposure to different nonprofits as well.
Exactly.
Very good.
So you guys have similar missions in that respect. Yeah. So we already talked a little bit about why my favorite nonprofit chose Up With People. Is there anything else you want to add to that, Ralph?
Well, again, you just mentioned that the alignment was so close, and that's really what hit the nail on the head for me, was the fact that they were working with other nonprofits, they were doing the community service, and they were going throughout the world and really trying to bring unity to the world. Yeah. Being a global citizen is a big thing right now, and in Colorado, we have a lot of different international nonprofits that are really taking that role, and Up With People is one of the leaders in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know you were talking a little bit about the social networking aspect, and that is definitely the huge thing right now that people can use to benefit organizations like yours.
Exactly. The power of the internet right now is very strong.
Yeah, exactly. And global, which is what you need.
Totally.
So let's talk about the event and the Up With People benefit gala this year. So Ralph, can you tell us a little bit about what people can expect who are attending that?
Yeah, the gala is, like you said, is benefiting Up With People. And what we're doing is we're trying to raise funds for their international scholarship program so the students could be able to travel abroad with them that can't really afford the fee to do so. And the thing that's really neat about this program is that Up With People actually is going to be doing the entertainment for the gala. So it's actually, the gala is around all of Up With People. And as Eric has mentioned, they're traveling throughout the world. And I think at the time of my gala, a lot of their cast is going to be in Europe.
Yeah.
So part of the cast is actually flying back to do this event, to do the performance, which we're really excited about.
Yeah.
And I read on the website that there are going to be some new songs being performed at this event.
Yes, that'd be Eric's
Yes.
cue right there.
Yes.
Who writes the songs? They're original songs, right?
Yeah, they are original songs, Nicole. We have, part of my role as executive producer is to find really talented people. And so we have talented people. Some of them are alumni. Some of them are songwriters from outside of our alumni folds that work to write our music. We have a production studio down in Orlando as well as one here in Denver, Colorado. And the message of our music is international unity. And again, non-religious, non-political. It is music in the style of today's youth. So I don't know who you listen to, but I think probably the easiest way for me to explain our musical production is it is live, it is vibrant. We have a full band on stage. We have a cast of, when we tour the world, of a cast of 100. And it's so energetic that people have likened it to, when they've talked to me about it, they said, oh, it's kind of like Glee. And I said, yeah, kind of, except for they're college-age students and they're international.
Okay.
And there's 100 of them. So my favorite phrase that I used to describe their program recently is it's like Glee meets the Peace Corps, or Glee Corps. Right?
Glee
Wow.
Corps.
Yes.
And I'm coining that phrase right now on this radio station.
Okay, the Glee Corps.
The Glee Corps.
And I do have to admit that I watch Glee a lot and I really like it. But that's probably just because of my background in high school.
Yeah.
And also there's been some very actually successful people that are alumni with Up With People. Can you mention a couple of those, Eric?
Yeah, you bet. We has anybody ever heard of Beyonce?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, have you seen her music videos?
Some of them,
Yeah.
yes.
Her choreographer, Frank Gatson Jr., is one of our alumni.
Really?
And he's in incredible demand. If you've ever watched the news on TV, Tom Costello, who's an NBC correspondent from, typically he does the White House. He's one of our alums.
Yeah, he used to work for Channel 9 here as well.
He did,
Yeah.
We have international alums that work for the entertainment business, for the education business, in politics at the UN, on Capitol Hill. And I like to say that probably one of the largest base of our alumni is working in education in all aspects of education, whether it's policy, whether it's in the classroom, the heroes of our society today, those classroom teachers, or whether it's in nonprofit management. Over 20,000 of them.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think a lot of the alumni is also involved with different nonprofits.
Definitely. Well, the Cherry Creek Arts Festival, Terry Adams, who's the executive director of the Cherry Creek Arts Festival, is an alumnus of Up With People.
Oh, cool.
So
I wonder if
good.
anyone will ever end up on Glee, actually. That'd be pretty cool. Just saying.
We've been mentioned a few times.
Hey.
We've been mentioned.
You know what? I think I have heard you on Glee.
Rachel's dads are
Yes.
alumni of Up With People. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I have heard about you on Glee. That's awesome. So we are coming to the end of our time. So let's just get the rest of the details out about the gala that My Favorite Nonprofit is hosting. What are the rest of the details that people need to know, Ralph?
Well, we're going to have a live and silent auction, and one of the live auctions, as Eric was mentioning, some alumni have actually are alumni that have people in the band, the Fray, that are going to give a guitar signed by the band members.
You've heard of the Fray, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to be the live auction. So we're going to have a live and silent auction. The entertainment, like I said, is going to be with Up With People. Our MCs is Greg Lopez, who's the Colorado director of the SBA, and also James Mejia, who was a former president of the Hispanic Chamber. He's done quite a lot of things. I just did an interview with him on our segment, Nonprofits That Care. And James Mejia was former the president of the Hispanic Chamber, like I said, but he just recently ran for mayor for the city of Denver. And so both of them have been involved in the nonprofit community. They'll be our MCs. And then people can go to myfavoriternonprofit.com to get more information about the gala. They can register there, and they'll be able to buy the tickets and find out more information about the event.
Great. Thank you for that. And thank you two, both of you, for coming in to talk to me about this event and Up With People.
You bet.
It's been a pleasure talking with Ralph Girls from My Favorite Nonprofit and Eric Lentz from Up With People. I just want to throw it out there that the gala is happening on May 12th.
That's right.
And it's at the Denver Marriott, right? Anything else I'm missing?
Well, it's at the Denver Marriott City Center downtown on May 12th. It starts at 5:30 and it should go to about 9:30 in the evening.
Great. Thank you so much. For Crawford Broadcasting, I'm Nicole Russell. Thanks for listening.